Filmrose Academy Award, and with me is Namit Malhotra, who started off with Prime Focus, now has DNEG in the UK and LA, and he has been nominated in the visual effects category for 2 films, No Time to Die and Dune. Both of them absolutely fantastic and probably a great chance of winning one of them at least, but this is not your first nomination. You've sort of made it a habit of being nominated for visual effects now, isn't it?
Well, what can I say? It's been a great run. Incredibly thankful to my teams across the world. Both the films have done outstanding work. Bond is an all-time favorite character, and Dune is just spellbinding. From the director's vision to what our teams have been able to put together is truly remarkable.
Right, and Dune won the BAFTA recently,
yes.
And it has some incredibly innovative techniques that you've employed. Tell us a little bit about the film and what are you bringing on the table with that film?
I think for me personally, as a real lover of film and cinema, I think looking at the way Dune has played out, even though we've had the privilege of working on the film, had anybody else done the work on it, I would have been equally pleased, because it really shows how our art form has truly evolved from creating wow moments in a film or in sequences to actually being able to present something that's so consistent in the entire narrative of the film, the story, the world that has been created. I think is a big step forward in how films are being made and what will be considered, in my view, the world of visual effects before Dune and after Dune. And I think that's where I'm incredibly excited about that.
So you believe that Dune is the turning point of visual effects?
I firmly believe, I've never said this before in my career, but I truly believe that the work that we've been able to put together with the leadership of the director and the whole film team is truly remarkable. And I genuinely salute the effort that's gone into actually making a film like this, and they're therefore very excited.
And Bond films, right? No Time to Die, everyone feels a little bit more passionate if it has something to do with 007.
Yeah.
Tell me, how do you feel about being nominated for
I think
that?
James Bond is an iconic character. We all have, I can say from my father to me, all of us have grown up watching Bond films and have been truly inspired by the legendary character in the franchise it is. It's also very heartening that, we as the lead company on Bond, maybe in the last 40-50 years, it's for the first time that a Bond film has been nominated for a visual effects Oscar, and we feel incredibly again privileged with that happening, and the fact that we were a big part of that is even more gratifying to us.
So you've sort of created history with the Bond film. That's so historic in its own right.
I'd love to say that, but it's not credit for me to take. It's truly the filmmakers and the teams that have done that work in a very seamless manner.
Okay, between the two, I'm going to ask you to choose one.
Okay.
I know they're both your babies, but which one do you think has a greater chance of bagging that Oscar?
I think it's actually a very difficult question, only because both the films, from what I've seen in the way the Academy nominates or has given awards in the past, they like to have films that are truly using the art form of visual effects to create a very seamless experience. And in that regard, Bond, for where it's based and how a Bond movie is made, is truly seamless. You can't really see the visual effects and say that was done digitally or that was done practically, and that's a big win for a Bond film. Dune, on the other hand, is a true spectacle. It takes you to a different world, a different point in time in the universe, and so I know it's a very hard coin to toss, and I'm a bit torn between my personal love for Bond and what I believe is game-changing work on Dune. So let's see what the jury says, but I'm personally equally excited about both.
And talking about game-changing work, you are in a way a game changer, right? You have captured the Bollywood market, you're now making this foray into Hollywood. How has this journey been for you personally, from when you started the company to where you've taken it now?
So the way I've tended to think of myself, because I started very, very young. I was almost, I had not even turned 19 when I started my company. So for me, the journey of growing from being what I believe was a kid in the movie business, that grew up in the movie business, to now sort of, making these outcomes, it's almost like it's an outer world experience for me, where look back over what we've achieved and what we've done, I truly feel thankful that we've been able to get there. That being said, none of these journeys are supposed to be easy, or nobody's going to open up the red carpet or the doors and say, please come on in. Whether it's India as Bollywood or whether it's Hollywood, everybody has to prove through sheer grit, determination, and frankly, work on the screen that you well deserve it. And I'm fortunate that we've been able to do that. We've had a great record run in India when we did some of the best projects there and won a bunch of awards, and that trend has continued into my journey in the West, and therefore I can't be more thankful to all the people who supported me and the way things have played out.
Let's talk about the West and Indians in the West. Where do you see the space? Is there space in Hollywood for Indians? Because we don't often hear about Indians unless they're extremely popular actors on front of the screen, but we don't hear a lot about people in the background. Where do you see India, especially in this field, take over Hollywood?
So I think Hollywood in general has been, most people that are in Hollywood come from somewhere in the world, and it's a melting pot of talent that literally, if you're the best in the world in whatever you do, you want to go to Hollywood and you want to give it a fair shot. And that has played out for many people from different parts of the world, whether they came from Europe or Australia or the US or Canada. There's some very, very prolific filmmakers, Denis Villeneuve, one of them, as a French Canadian. That has been a very open sort of place because they want the best storytellers for entertaining the world. That's the sort of agenda of Hollywood. And in that regard, I believe that India, with its own legacy and history, has tremendous talent and tremendous potential. It's just that we've had the good fortune of having our own industry, and we've stayed within our geography of the country. And I feel that as soon as Indians feel that they can make a play, like Indians have done in the tech world in Silicon Valley or in New York or the financial markets, I think Hollywood is certainly a place where our actors, directors, technicians can really make a mark.
I'm going to ask you this question because I think this is important. When we talk about technology, when we talk about visual effects, we see this field as very male dominated. What are you doing in terms of getting more women and being more inclusive towards people in this industry?
So, I think again, to be fair, the industry as it's transitioned from being more in the older days of being more, everything had to be done physically on set in a very controlled or in a very specific environment. The more digital work from home capabilities have emerged. The idea that this can now be inclusive and without any limitations on what your background is, which part of the world you live in, whether you're a male or a female, I think has really opened up the level playing field. And therefore, I think as long as people are passionate about that, the opportunities are all there. I think we've seen a significant increase in the EDI initiatives at the company, and we continue to foster a lot of training and specific areas of development to bring in more and more women and people of different backgrounds and ethnicities to be able to drive that inclusion in the business. Because at the core of the industry, we want that, because the industry thrives on that mix, that differences of how people think, behave, because that's what makes storytelling interesting, and that's sort of at the core of what we believe in. And we're doing I think the teams at my company are doing a very good job at pushing that agenda forward very, very proactively.
So that's brilliant, because STEM is not just for men. More and more women need to get into this field, and there is space. Like Namit said, there's space for women and differently abled people to enter this field and make a name for themselves. But my final question to you is, what's next? You seem to have done practically everything, from ads to television to OTT to films, Bollywood, Hollywood, and all the woods in between. What's next for you? What's that big project that you're really excited about?
So, personally, I always wanted to be a filmmaker, film director when I started my career, and with the preoccupations of running a global business, I find that maybe that may or may not happen. At least I can't see that in the limited timeline that I have, or my limited focus that I can give. But I am very excited about producing some very big creative productions where we participate, not just from a services standpoint, but also creatively, where I'm looking to be a producer in that. And that's something that I am extremely passionate about. We have our very first film called Brahmastra that comes out with Ayan Mukherjee, is a very Indian, very talented Indian director, in partnership with Foxstar and Karan Johar, meant to hit the screens in September. We've got Ramayan, which is the biggest story of India, which we want to make for on a global scale for the global audiences. We're co-producing films like Garfield in the US. It's an animated film that we're doing with Alcon Entertainment, and Sony will be distributing it. So we've got, varied levels at which we are now engaging with the industry, with our relationships, to really bring the best of what we as a company can do and what I feel creatively I can bring in to take this to the next level.
So let's come back to Ramayana. Okay? In India, practically everyone grew up with the television series that was Ramayana. How is your film going to be any different?
So, there's obviously a lot that we will want to announce at the right time and show the world what we're making, but the simple way for me to put it is that we've got some of the best talent, massive director in Nitesh Tiwari, bringing on a person called Ravi Udyawar to come and create the world of Ramayana with us, and then leveraging all the capabilities we at DNEG have in delivering some of the biggest spectacles that we do for all the big Hollywood films. We want to make sure that we can bring all of that to the screen to tell the story of Ramayana. Because interestingly, while it's a story and about our Indian culture, about our gods, it also has a lot of fantasy and a lot of elements that I believe can stand up to any big, call it visual spectacle that the world has seen. And my goal is to make sure that we can bring Ramayana in its full glory to the world, with the pride of it being an Indian story but made for the world.
So you are going to tap global audiences with that. So it will have a completely global makeover to it.
I would love to believe that is where we would love to land this at. So that's my aspiration and vision. And like everything that I've done in my life, I try to punch above my weight, and I hope for the best after that. So Ramayana is going to be no different. I want to make sure that we give it the grandest platform and the grandest vision that we can give it, and then we'll see where it goes.
I'm sure your excitement will also percolate down to the audiences that will get to see something as remarkable as Ramayana in a completely different or new avatar, in a way. So good luck with the Academy Awards.
Thank you.
And we hope to see many, many, many more amazing work on the screen.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
This is Ruhi Khan in London for Mojo Story.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.